What's up, guys? Today, I'm going to be making my claims on why I think Diego Lopez and Khamzat Chimaev deserve title shots in their respective divisions. So, let's get right into it, starting off with Diego Lopez. Let's talk about Volkanovski. Obviously, Volkanovski is clamoring for a rematch with Ilia Topuria. He got in the cage at UFC 308 after Ilia KO'd Max, and I'm not going to lie, it was one of the most cringe things I've ever seen. But listen, man, Volkanovski, by merit, he deserves a title shot, but he shouldn't get one just for the simple fact that there's zero hype behind a Ilia fight. Right now, everybody thinks that Ilia Topuria is going to KO Volk even worse the second time than he did the first time. In my opinion, to build any hype whatsoever, if it's even possible, we need to see Volkanovski get a win. Listen, I know he's the featherweight, one of the featherweight greats, arguably the GOAT in a lot of people's eyes, including myself, but Volkanovski is 0-2, 0-3 in his last three fights. No, he beat Yair in between so he's 0-2 in his last two fights, coming off of two brutal KO losses, including his last one against Ilia Topuria. So why would people, and after Ilia Topuria just destroyed Max Holloway, why would people want to see Volkanovski fight Ilia Topuria again? I mean, yes, he deserves it, but we don't want to see Volk get chinned again. So I think what you do with Volk is you put him against Khamzat Chimaev versus Aljamain Sterling winner for a title eliminator, and I think that would be good for Volk. He can get back in the win column, show if he still got it at 36 years old, coming off of two KO losses. We need Volkanovski to get a win. I don't want to see him get in there without wins, no confidence, get in there and just get KO'd again in the first round. That's probably going to happen no matter what, but I'd like to see Volkanovski with confidence coming back with a good training camp, a win on his belt, and then he can get a rematch with Topuria. Let's talk about Khamzat Chimaev. Listen, I know he's fighting Aljamain Sterling at UFC 310, but the guy's inactive. Typical Russian fighter, inactive, 2 fights in the last 2 years. And also, he has no finishes in the UFC. That in itself will not build hype for any fight. You're telling me you want him to get a title shot against Topuria when Topuria is finishing everyone and Khamzat has 0 finishes? How are you going to sell that? That's like Rakhmonov versus fucking Bilal Muhammad. No one cares about Bilal Muhammad. Anyways, no hype behind Arnold Allen because people think that he lost to Arnold Allen. I mean, no hype behind Evloev because people think he lost to Arnold Allen, which I agree with that, actually. But listen, man, I don't think Khamzat, even with a win, if he gets a finish over Aljamain Sterling, then maybe he could steal a title shot. But I just think there's more hype to be made around Diego Lopez. Listen, Diego Lopez, my favorite fighter in the UFC. Definitely no bias in this video. But listen, Diego Lopez is 5-0 in the last 14 months with 3 finishes. Bro's just coming through, cracking Brian Ortega on the chin, nearly sending him to the Shadow Realm, sending Sadiq Yusuf to the Shadow Realm. Like, Diego Lopez has power, and he has aura, and he weighed up as the backup fighter in Abu Dhabi. That in itself can warrant a title shot. Look at Colby Covington. He weighed in as the backup fighter for Usman versus Leon, and they gave him a title shot. But this is different because Diego Lopez is actually 5-0 in the last 14 months with 3 finishes. Yes, I know Diego Lopez lost to Khamzat Chimaev in his debut, but it was a close fight and on short notice for Diego Lopez, and he threatened submissions and came close against Khamzat Chimaev, and he's been nothing but impressive since. Not to mention, Diego Lopez, outside of Ilia Topuria, might have the most aura in the featherweight division right now, and although I do think Ilia probably would smoke him just because Ilia is that damn good, he speaks Spanish, so you could build a fight around Ilia and Diego Lopez in Spain, and I know the UFC is looking to crack into the Spain market. So I think those are some really good reasons on why Diego Lopez should get the next title shot. You got the 5-0 in the last 14 months, insanely active, weighed up as the backup fighter at UFC 308. He has aura and he speaks Spanish, so you could do Spanish versus Spanish against him versus Topuria in Spain. I mean, you can't write it better. Let Volkanovski get another win. No one cares about Evloev, let's be honest. He's going to have to Bilal Muhammad his way into a title shot and just get a million wins until we eventually are forced to give him a title shot. Same thing like Marab, because he only knows how to fight to a smudge grappling decision. Either way, give my boy Diego Lopez a title shot or we riot. And that's that, bro. Diego Lopez next versus Ilia Topuria. I want to see it. Even though I'm sad because I do think Topuria is probably going to KO him, I still want to see it because it will be a great matchup. Let's move on to Khamzat Chimaev and why he deserves a title shot over Sean Strickland. Listen, Sean Strickland, the guy's a carrot about waiting around for a title shot. Ever since he lost the belt to Dricus and he won a pitter-pat decision against Paulo Costa, he's been sitting and whining on Twitter, talking about, I deserve the next shot. Here's the fucking thing, you guys. I almost beat Dricus in a back-to-back fucking war for you fucking guys. and now I got to win over Paulo Costa, and you're telling me I can't get a title shot after I basically beat the champion? Listen, Strickland, I don't care how close the fight was with Dricus. You lost. On paper, you lost. You didn't even get a single title defense. I don't care if you're 1-0 since you fought Dricus. That doesn't mean shit to me. Khamzat Chimaev just came out there and obliterated Robert Whittaker in the first round, something no one has ever been able to do in the middleweight division. Adesanya couldn't do it, took him to the second round. Yoel Romero couldn't do it over the course of 2 fights. I mean, even Dricus couldn't do it. Dricus took to the second round, and he was even taken down by Robert Whittaker. Doesn't say much, but what I'm saying is Khamzat Chimaev is the most dominant wrestler and grappler we've ever seen in the UFC. He just got his aura back, in my opinion, by snapping Robert Whittaker's jaw and showing he is still that guy. And let's be real, the UFC wants Khamzat to be champ. They've been wanting him for a while to get a title shot. The only reason he hasn't been able to get a title shot is because he's been sick and inactive and just not. He started off his UFC career as one of the most active fighters, getting 3 wins in like 68 days. And then this guy went to fighting once a year. But I think we see a new therapist-esque Dr. Khamzat, if you will. And listen, man, if you look at their last 2 performances, Khamzat Chimaev is undefeated. He's number 3 in the division. He just smoked the number 3 guy in Robert Whittaker. Sean Strickland is coming off a loss. Not coming off a loss. He lost to Duplessis, and then he beat Paulo Costa. That Paulo Costa performance, in my opinion, was not very entertaining, and it wasn't impressive. We're looking for finishes as fans. So is the UFC. Khamzat Chimaev, he's finishing everybody, except for Usman and Burns. He's finished everybody in his UFC career. And yeah, I think Khamzat would drag Dricus down just like he did Whittaker and choke him out in the first round as well. I think he's that fucking good, dude. I called it in the Whittaker fight, and I don't think it's going to be any different in the Dricus fight. But like I said, I am sick and tired of these fighters like Sean Strickland and other fighters that lose the belt or sit around on a win streak talking about, I'm going to sit out for 2 years because I deserve a title fight. Just literally just wasting time. Like, bro, stop being a fucking Karen. Get in the octagon. Do Strickland versus Whittaker next at sometime the first quarter of next year. Whoever wins that, if it's Strickland who wins that, he can get his rematch with Dricus or he could fight Khamzat. Either way, I don't think Strickland should fight for the belt next. He hasn't done enough just by beating Paulo Costa. And a lot of people are going to argue that just for the simple fact that Strickland had a close fight with Duplessis that was arguably should have went his way, that you should redo the fight. That's not always the case, in my opinion. Listen, he had a chance to knock Dricus out. He had a chance to submit Dricus or get him out of there. What did he do? He fought to the judges, and he lost the decision, which is fine. But you can't sit there and be a crybaby about it and say, oh, man, I deserve the title shot. I beat Paulo Costa after basically beating Dricus. Like, bro, on paper, you lost to Dricus. You've won 1 decision fight by pitter-pat punches to Paulo Costa for 5 rounds. Khamzat Chimaev, undefeated, never fought for the belt, just destroyed the number 3 guy in the division, Robert Whittaker. The UFC wants him to be champ. I think Khamzat Chimaev just stole that title shot, and I think that Dricus saying he wants to fight Khamzat next, the UFC are going to push that fight even harder, in my opinion. So that's my opinion on why Diego Lopez and Khamzat Chimaev should get title shots next in their respective divisions. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree in the comments. Let me know if I'm a casual, as always, of course. This is the only 2 ways I see the featherweight and middleweight division moving on. I wouldn't mind Volkanovski getting a title shot, but I just feel like Ilya is just going to KO him worse even the first time. I think Volk needs to get a win. And yeah, Strickland, don't even get me started on Strickland. He does not deserve a title shot right now. Khamzat and Diego Lopez for title shots, or we riot. That's it for this video, guys. I appreciate you watching. Thanks for all the new subs, likes, and comments. I'm going to keep pushing these daily content out. And yeah, we're on the road to 500 subs. So if you enjoy the content, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.